Hello everyone, Alyssa Lebrecq, nutritionist and gut expert here. I want to talk to you guys about anxiety today. Oh man, does anyone watching this struggle with anxiety? It is something that I'm noticing a lot in our client Facebook group, but also even in our free community, our Love Your Guts IBS support group. And many people are finding that they're feeling really overwhelmed with all of the gut issues that they're having. And a lot of the times it's because they don't really know if they're going to have a good gut day or a bad gut day. And it really just creates this like spinning in their heads where they're constantly trying to figure out what the heck to do to fix their gut. And a lot of people have asked me, what comes first? Your gut issues or the anxiety? Or is the anxiety causing the gut issues? Because it kind of feels like they're kind of feeding into each other. Is anyone experiencing that where you find you have a really bad gut day and it starts to create a lot of anxiety and it stresses you right out? Let me know in the comments if that's you. Or you might find that you have a really stressful day at work, or you got in a fight with your husband or your wife or whatever, and then you can feel it afterwards. You just feel sick to your stomach about it. It feels like your stomach is like twisting. Has anyone felt that before, where there's this situation that literally makes them feel sick to their stomach, right? We often say that. I feel sick to my stomach about that situation. And so it's really interesting because you are exactly right. If you're wondering if your stress is affecting your gut, it is. It definitely is. And your gut issues are definitely affecting your anxiety as well. So they feed into each other. It's kind of like a catch-22. What came first? The chicken or the egg. And so anxiety is really common when we're dealing with gut issues, not just because it's a shitty situation, quite frankly. There's actually some science behind it. And so the interesting part is that up to 90% of your serotonin, which is your happy hormone, is actually produced in the gut. So if your gut's not happy, you're not going to be very happy. Now, I'm not about to sit here and downplay anxiety or depression like that and say that it's all a result of an imbalanced gut. It's much more complicated than that, right? But your gut is absolutely a factor. So I want to talk to you guys about reducing anxiety naturally this week. And the thing that I have to preface this with is that you have to remember and please understand that there's a root causative factor to everything. Okay, everything's cause and effect. There's a root causative factor to everything. And so when we're looking at dealing with anxiety, your anxiety is not due to a deficiency in antidepressants or any medication for that matter. And it's also not due to a deficiency in lavender essential oil. As beautiful as it smells and as helpful as it may be, that's not going to fix the anxiety. And supplements even. A lot of the times people will go to the health food store and they go down the anxiety aisle. Yeah, there's an anxiety aisle. And they'll pick up some herbs that are meant to help, calm you down. And you can do that, but it's also not due to a deficiency in that. Okay, these are what we call symptom management tools. They're not fixing the root causative factor. And so I want you to make sure that you're aware of that, because there's a very big difference between managing the symptom and getting to the root cause and preventing it from reoccurring. So today I'm going to get you some really easy things that you can be implementing in, and I'm going to encourage you to explore some other stuff deeper. So let's talk about some of the actual causes, because, it's really hard to fix something when you don't know what the heck is going on, right? Has anyone ever felt like, holy smokes, I meditate every morning and I still feel like I'm super anxious, or I journal, or I'm walking and exercising, I'm doing all the things, but I'm still feeling anxious? Let me know if that's you. this is where we're talking about there can be deeper root causative factors, and even meditation and journaling and exercising, these are all coping mechanisms, right? They're fantastic. I encourage you to do them. I'm not discouraging you from that, but we have to call a spade, right? And understand what it's going to do for you and what it's not going to do for you, so that you can have incredibly real expectations, right? Because there's nothing more frustrating than when you try something and then, for God's sakes, it comes back the next day, right? It's like the next day it comes right back and you're like, oh my God, I just can't seem to cut a break. It doesn't matter what I do. And so here are some of the things that I want you to consider. Yes, your gut health absolutely matters. If you have anxiety, you've got gut issues. I put my money on it, right? And we can confirm this by the diarrhea or constipation that you're experiencing, or the fluctuating between the two, that, nervous gas, the bubbling in your stomach, or even just that nauseousness and pain when you're just feeling really unsettled by a situation. The reality is that stress will cause gut imbalances. Studies have shown that stress and anxiety will deplete your gut. It will cause things like leaky gut or gut permeability. It will actually affect your motility, so it can give you either diarrhea or constipation. It can even deplete your good bacteria and enzymes, and this is what then promotes an overgrowth of bad bacteria. So we want to get the anxiety in check, but as I mentioned earlier, you can have a gut imbalance that could be brought on for several different reasons. And if that's the case, that will also be feeding into the anxiety, because your serotonin production, your happy hormone, is not being produced like it was before. Okay, so there's gut issues. Now, the other big piece is hormone imbalances. Now, this is where a lot of people, and we tend to have done this especially to women, where we tend to point the finger when women are a little bit more emotional, because we process things differently than men. Our brains are wired differently. That's just a fact. But we've been told as women that we're just being hormonal. Right? We always get the hormone blame game happening. And the reality is there can be some hormone imbalances. Now, it doesn't mean that if you're having a hard day that you're just being hormonal. But looking into hormone imbalances are also worth digging into, because things like estrogen dominance can in fact add to anxiety. Okay, so that's another root causative factor to go and explore. Now, there's physical stuff to dig into, but the really big piece that a lot of people like to steer away from, because it's hard and it's uncomfortable confronting this stuff, is the emotional piece. And the emotional piece, it can be several different things that can be creating an emotional imbalance. It could be a trauma that you've experienced before, whether it's small t trauma or big T trauma, whatever that looks like. But anxiety is also typically a sign that someone is living potentially out of alignment. And a big example of that is saying yes when you really want to say no. Okay? You know what I'm talking about, right? Is that you? All right. So saying yes when you really want to say no. How many times in your week or your day are there tasks that you are going to go do because you agreed to do them, and you are kicking yourself and cringing and dreading and thinking and spinning and stewing and dreaming about that thing that you have to go do? And you really don't want to go do it, but for some reason you feel like you should, or that you have to. That is first of all, it is a shitty feeling. That is such a shitty feeling, to be living your life feeling like you have to do things out of obligation. And the reality is you don't have to, okay? You do not have to. I know it might feel like you do right now, but in the grand scheme of things, you'll probably discover that you really don't have to. Okay, I'm seeing some people saying daily. If that's the case, then I really encourage you to look for another solution for that, because that is a root causative factor when it comes to anxiety. Nothing feels more freaking freeing than saying no to shit you don't want to do. okay? And once you start doing that, it feels so good. It is like 1,000,000 pounds off of your shoulders. And then you're gonna start looking for things. You're gonna be like, who else can I say no to? I'm coming for you, right? It honestly feels so good. So step one, I want you to really do some reflecting and ask yourself, why are you doing these things that you don't wanna be doing? And what is it costing you by continuing to do those things, right? Now, here's another really, really big one. And I hear this all of the time. Then I really just, I got to talk about it. So let's talk about it. I hear this most often from women. Okay, I talk to women every single day. And just this week alone, there is not one woman that I have spoken to that is not carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders because she wants to take care of everyone. Right? Now, this can apply to men too. So don't worry, I'm not leaving you out, men. Don't worry, okay? But just in this example, the amount of women that I speak to, and one woman in particular, she said, you know, my kids are grown up, they're in their 20s, 30s, but I just always make sure they're okay first. And I've always just taken care of everyone else before I've taken care of myself. And the reality is if you're saying yes to everyone else around you, you're taking care of everyone else around you, eventually you're going to not feel very good, whether it be physically or emotionally. Now, emotionally, because that's what we're talking about right now, you're going to eventually resent the snot out of the people around you. Right? Whether it is your husband or a wife and you come home, you feel like you're carrying the weight of the world and you're doing the dang dishes or something and you just need to sit down because you're not feeling well because you've been glued to the toilet, shitting your pants all day, or you haven't pooped in a week and you are in pain and you want some help from your spouse and you're just doing all the work instead of asking for help. You're going to start to resent the people around you. And this is where the moodiness and the anxiety comes in. So I also hear from a lot of people saying that they're snapping on their children and they're snapping on their spouses because they're feeling so crappy and yet they're pushing through the stuff that they need to be asking for help for. Right? So when we talk about anxiety, a lot of people, they just want me to come on here and be like, just give a supplement recommendation. But guys, the reality is we got to get right to the root of this stuff. And so if your gut issues are causing you anxiety, let's explore, why is that really happening? It's more likely that, again, you're struggling, you're feeling really terrible, and you need some support. And you're not asking for support. And so you're getting angry at the people around you. And then it feels like because you don't have the support you need, it's like everything is dependent on you. And so it's like, well, what about me, right? I have to take care of all of the things. And then all of the things feel so overwhelming, you start to get anxiety. Because now you're not just worrying about all the things you have to do for all your family, you're trying to figure out how the hell you're going to fix your gut. And so you've taken up this part-time job with Google, right? Trying to figure out how the heck you're going to fix your gut, right? And it's not working for you. So if you're going to start tackling this anxiety, you've got to get to the root causative factor. And I want you to get really honest with yourself. Do you need some support? And do you need to start saying no to some things so that you can reallot that energy into healing yourself? Now, this is, something really hard to work on because our egos will really try to protect us and keep us safe and keep us doing the same stuff we've always been doing because it feels familiar and it's comfortable, right? But staying where you are and staying stuck is only going to yield more pain, more of the same results, right? So I really encourage you to explore not just how you need to fix your physical gut, but how are you, mindset-wise, how are you tackling the world, right? What is your take on approaching challenging situations? Are you letting this stuff get you down? Or have you ever asked yourself, what have these gut struggles What have they really taught you about yourself? What has it taught you? Maybe that you're freaking invincible because it's tried to knock you down and you are still here. You stand back up every time. Maybe it's taught you that you are resourceful and you are willing to do whatever it takes and you will go to the ends of the earth to figure it out, right? It's taught you you're resourceful. It's taught you you are strong as hell. You're a fighter. You're resilient, right? That's the kind of mindset. And that's the kind of mindset that then is strong enough to set the boundaries to ask for some help and say no. Okay, so I encourage you guys to keep digging into this. All right, Hillary's saying, when I'm at work, I'm like this. They tend to make me feel, let me just try to expand this. Is it gonna let me? Come on. Okay, give me 1 sec. Let me pull it up on my computer. Oh, there we go, it worked. They tend to make me feel like everything that happens is my fault and constantly making my anxiety go crazy. And it seems like it's a constant cycle, and I get home and I'm irritated and I'm trying not to freak out. For sure. Okay, so what's making, I would ask yourself, what is making me feel like it's my fault? What are they saying and what are they doing that is making me take this on? And something that's really important and really powerful to self-evaluate with is this something that you are getting paid to worry about? If it's your job, for example. Are you getting paid to worry about whatever it is? Are you doing everything that you can to mitigate it or fix it? And is there anything that is inside your control, right? Is this something that you can fix? If the answer is no, you can't fix it, and yes, you've done everything that you can, and maybe even no, they're not paying you to worry about it, then the activity is working on letting that go. And that becomes a core issue, something worth digging in to explore more, Hillary, is why is that triggering for me? Right? Why is that a common feeling for you, feeling like it's always your fault? These are things that we want to dig into deeper, guys. So when we talk about fixing your gut, it's not just about fixing your bacteria and leaky gut and enzymes and all that stuff. We need to do the emotional work because physical imbalances are presented because of emotional imbalances, right? So I know it might sound really bold, but physical imbalances come from and often are in part stemmed from emotional imbalances. Okay? So we want to dig into that and heal that too. So here's the thing, guys. This is a really big topic. It's not something we can tackle in 30 minutes, but I encourage you to, again, keep exploring. And I want to get you a really helpful tool tonight, and I'm going to post this in the thread of the video here. Let me pull it up on my computer, and boom, there I am. I'm going to share something real cool with you guys. All right, Sandy's saying, come on, little phone, you can do her. There we go. I keep getting asked why the doctors can't get me diagnosed correctly and why it won't go away. I try so hard, but it feels overwhelming when I get these questions because no one wants this fixed more than me. So that's all you have to say is I'm doing everything in my power to feel better right now. And you don't know anyone else an explanation beyond that. Right? And if you're feeling like you're not getting answers and you're stuck, then we need to fill in those missing pieces because there's something missing. Guys, if there's one thing that you guys ever take away from me and that's it, I please hope that it is to never lose the faith that it is possible for you to fix your gut. And just because it hasn't worked yet doesn't mean it's not possible. It just simply means that there is some missing piece of the puzzle. There's a stone unturned. We got to go fill in those pieces, and that's what makes the difference. So Sandy, I see you. You're not alone in this. And if you need any support, don't ever hesitate to reach out. If you're not in our free Facebook group already, come on over and join the Love Your Guts IBS support group. We've got lots of free resources in there to get you some support and some clarity and answers. Okay, guys, so I want to get you one really helpful, easy tool to implement right away. Now, where are my coffee lovers at? I know, you guys are thinking, not the coffee. Don't touch the coffee, Alyssa. It's my coffee. I know them's are fighting words as soon as we bring up the coffee topic. Deep breath, guys, deep breath. All right, here's the thing about coffee. I'm not going to tell you to just cut it all cold turkey, right? What kind of sick joke is that, right? Now, here's the thing. I want you to just understand what coffee is doing. Okay, now coffee is actually quite acidic, and so it really does contribute to inflammation in the body. And if you've got an angry bowel, then guys, your bowels are inflamed, right? You got some inflammation happening. And so here's the thing. The other thing that I really want you to understand is that because we're dealing with these level of severe gut imbalances, it's stressful, right? We can all agree. It's stressful, it's anxiety provoking, it feels all consuming, and it's probably something that you think most of in the day, right? Are you spending most of your day thinking about this? So the reality is there's a very strong chance, again, we need to test this, I can't speak in absolutes, but there's a very strong chance that your cortisol levels are through the freaking roof, right? And your body is constantly on high drive in this fight or flight response. And so when we add something like coffee in that is a stimulant, it actually further spikes that cortisol level, and eventually it can just add to and lean into potential adrenal fatigue. And listen, you don't want to deal with any hormone imbalances on top of your angry guts. So I'd rather you look to reduce your coffee or swap it out for something a little bit gentler so that we're not getting the caffeine jitters. And if you are using coffee to poop, well, that's just cheating, and we need to get you a better way of pooping, okay? So even if you don't drink coffee, I want you to use this trick, okay? What I want you to do is rotate coffee out or reduce your coffee or add this trick in with matcha. Matcha is a green tea. It's fantastic. It is lightly caffeinated, but it's very different than the caffeine that's actually in coffee. It's what we call a slow release. And so what we've actually seen with matcha is that it actually helps to reduce your cortisol levels. Very different than what coffee does. And it also contains this really important amino acid called L-theanine. And L-theanine is fantastic for helping to calm your brain waves. And there's been some really cool studies out there that have actually said that L-theanine will calm your brain waves much like a meditating monk. So, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. Who here wants to feel like a meditating monk? Drop a yes in the comments, because I'm going to post this up for you guys here. I've got a really delicious matcha latte recipe. You guys are going to love it. Give this a try. You can either swap a coffee for a matcha latte, or you can have this instead of tea, or just add it in. It's a really, really great thing to be mixing into your day. Okay, Hillary's saying coffee is like a laxative for me, along with a lot of food, for sure. I mean, we don't want you getting diarrhea either. So for those who have diarrhea and know that they can't touch coffee with a 10-foot pole, this is for you, okay? All right, Christina says, so if we don't drink coffee, we add green tea matcha into our morning. Yeah, absolutely, let's do it. That's a really great way to swap it out. So a lot of my clients love doing something like this instead. I've just dropped the link to our blog for this recipe in the comments below. So give it a click. The recipe's in there, super easy. You guys are gonna love it. Okay, Laura says, is there a non-caffeine option? If you're looking for like an equivalent to a matcha latte, I'd actually go in the direction of a golden milk, and I've got a recipe for that too. So let me just hook you guys up tonight. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Boom, got it. Okay, I'm gonna link this up in the comments too. So for those that want completely caffeine free, amazing, proud of you all. Let's get you something like golden milk. So I just dropped that in the comments as well. Now that blog that I actually just sent you, oh shoot, did I just send the exact same one? Give me one sec. Would help if I get you the correct link. Oh shoot. Okay, there we go. So I just dropped that in there. For those that want to be completely caffeine free, absolutely get the golden milk. And the blog recipes that I just posted there's actually 3. So you get my bone broth recipe, there's a golden milk recipe, and there's also a really great cabbage juice recipe, which is great for leaky gut. So That's a real big bonus. So give that stuff a try this week, guys, and let me know what you think. It's such an easy swap. It's not about restriction. It's about finding all the things that you can have that are going to help maximize your gut healing. I hope you guys have an amazing night, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.